got a little bit of WWE like real news. At least I think this is real news because you never know these days, as we see with some of their press conferences, and like ESPN reporters are in the audience, but people are getting slammed through tables, and you just gotta wonder, like, should I quote this? Is this real? Like,
is that a normal thing now?
I don't know, but this was contributing sports writer Andrew Ravens, who writes for Newsweek, and the headline reads, WWE scraps plans to make big change to Smackdown. Report. I was unfamiliar that there were changes being discussed to Smackdown, so naturally, as I've been following WWE more and more over the past 4 months, and this article pops up in my news feed, and I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Newsweek. That's like real
Legit.
journalism.
Yeah.
So
Was it spelled the same way or was it spelled different way?
no, it's
Same?
the real Newsweek.
Okay.
All right, so this was let's get into it. This is the opening paragraph. WWE SmackDown is set to continue its 3-hour broadcast format on the USA Network for the foreseeable future. A notable decision given earlier expectations for the show to go back to a shorter length. This news comes via a recent report from WrestleVotes Radio on Sportskedia's Backstage Pass. So apparently there was some talk that SmackDown would get scaled down from a 3-hour show to a 2-hour show, and that is no longer happening. The article continues. The report states that SmackDown will remain a 3-hour show for the foreseeable future. This marks a shift from what was understood to be the original plan. According to the report, originally the show was agreed upon to move back to 2 hours beginning in June this year. So this was supposed to happen like right now. And that's why this news article apparently came out, because SmackDown wasn't changing, and someone noticed, like, is it still going to be 3 hours? It was supposed to change. Well, apparently it is going to be 3 hours.
They retained their audience.
That's what it must mean to me. I mean, I don't want to get too much into it before we get through the whole article, but, you know, the only thing I can say is anytime there's plans to scale down something from 3 hours to 2 hours, there must be some concern or conflict about whether or not there's enough demand for the product to warrant that much of a schedule. And, well, since whenever this first got talked about till now, that appears to have changed. And I would say that the ratings are drawing really well in the third hour for them to completely abandon this.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we are going to continue on the next slide, Nika. It says the continuation of the extended format is reportedly due to the network's positive reception. The primary driver for maintaining the 3-hour runtime is attributed to the USA Network's satisfaction with the program's viewership and overall performance. So, again, can't read between the lines too much here without a lot of information, but it does sound like they were unhappy at some point, right? If they're now happy and keeping, that at some point they were discussing cutting down and were maybe not happy with at least the numbers, the eyeballs, the ad revenue. Those are the things that drive whether or not things stay the same length or get cut down or get canceled completely. All right, I digress. Let's continue. WrestleVotes indicates that the USA Network has been happy with the performance of the show numbers-wise with the added third hour. SmackDown made its move to the USA Network in October 2024, and the 3-hour format has been a consistent feature since its debut on the channel. So this is new for USA Network, and maybe that's why there was some
hesitation,
talk about like, wait, do we want 3 hours of wrestling on Friday nights? Well, guess what? They do. Eyeballs and money wins out. And I guess kudos should be given to Triple H and to WWE for, you know, putting out a product that forced their hand.
Right, as a sports network, I mean, not network, as a sports entertainment, to retain people's attention for 3 hours, it's a tall order.
It is. You see, it's
in regular
baseball.
sports,
it's hard, you know, because like I prefer to watch 4 baseball games at once during the beginning because it's a lot more action packed and there's a lot more downtime between pitches. Still, you know, this show moves quick, and even with the commercial breaks, it moves fast.
It does.
I'm not surprised by any of this at all. It sounds to me like USA Network possibly underestimated how popular WWE really is.
Now they figure out they are sitting on a golden goose egg.
A lot of us are learning this, and it's
Good for the SmackDown.
It's not a bad product right now. I was a little bit skeptical of the product when we first started watching in January, but I'm fully on board. I've come to enjoy the mic skills, like I think we've seen some of these people get elevated, like Seth Rollins, that are great on the microphone. All right. Well, on the next slide, we can see our guy, Triple H, with that beard. This is a change from the show's traditional 2-hour runtime during its many years on other networks, including Fox. The decision to maintain 3 hours aligns SmackDown's length with WWE's flagship Monday Night Raw, which has also been a 3-hour program for over a decade, while NXT typically runs for 2 hours. And I just got to say, like, Raw's been over about 9:30-ish the last few weeks, it seems like. So I don't know if it's quite 3 hours. There are commercial breaks, so we're not, like, missing them.
Yeah, it's probably around 2
but it is a live show, and so sometimes I think maybe things end early. Maybe they go overtime sometimes. I remember back in the day, it used to always go like 5 or 10 minutes past 10 o'clock. And, even when I was in high school, Mom would be like, Kenny, it's time for bed.
It depends how much time they take on their mics, whether they get the audience involved. That takes time sometimes.
100%. So, yeah. This is interesting too. Like, again, they moved from Fox, which is sort of a national TV brand, to USA, which is cable, and it seems like they're doing better than ever. And
that's interesting.
It is interesting, and it makes me wonder how people are watching. Are they like buying a SmackDown package of some kind through a streaming mobile app, or are they internationally? I think they do really well on Netflix.
That's the
and this is live on Netflix internationally. It's on USA Network only in the USA. Go figure. Unfortunately, I say unfortunate. No knock against USA Network, but I wish all of it was streaming on Netflix and Peacock and somewhere streaming where.
You don't think USA is a wrestling station?
I don't want a TV provider, like a cable provider. I don't want a bunch of fluff. I don't want a bunch of channels I'm never going to watch. I got enough apps to clog my feed, and YouTube alone is like the world's most popular video entertainment platform anyway. So if you're not on YouTube, you're losing. All right. Well, the end of the article says a 3-hour weekly show provides WWE with more television time to develop multiple storylines, feature a larger portion of its talent roster, and present longer, more in-depth matches. So, look, I think this points to possibly, some more names jumping ship to maybe the SmackDown brand from Raw. Raw is pretty crowded with top-level talent right now, so I don't know if that's something that could possibly happen, but I do agree that the roster is really crowded right now, and there is like a ton of time that is needed to even get FaceTime for some of these people. Like, you even heard us talking today. Like, I don't know some of these names or faces sometimes because I just haven't seen them even since January.
I hope this doesn't go direction of Marvels, where they have too many superheroes and everybody needs a little bit of time on screen, and it never works out.
It never does, and you just can't force characters on an audience that is constantly evolving, and their needs are constantly changing. But it does seem like they are finding some really good characters right now with Seth Rollins and Jey Uso, and you see. We also are missing Roman Reigns right now, and he's going to make a grand entrance. Cody Rhodes just came back, so there's a lot of top-level talent names. We saw Cody Rhodes on SmackDown last week, Jey Uso on SmackDown, John Cena on SmackDown, Logan Paul. They were all there. The SmackDown, it used to be a roster, and it still is, I think. But it seems like the top-level talent at least will come out and jump on the mic or get into a brawl with their rival at the moment, just for entertainment purposes, for the audience purposes. Like, you can't underestimate how important it is for the Knoxville, Tennessee audience to interact with Jey Uso and do the dance with him. And like even though it was only 14,000 people in that arena, all 14,000 of those people probably did the yeet dance and got
The
down.
hand bobbing, all that stuff. It was all interactive.
And they're going to remember that experience probably, more than half the people that go to a baseball game these days and do the wave. It's just being honest.
Yeah.
You're
not wrong.
All right, let's finish this article out.
Okay.
This can be advantageous for building characters and feuds, leading into premium live events. Again, they have this Friday night is always going to be before Saturday. So I'm curious to see. This is a great opportunity for them to use SmackDown to even add more fuel to the fire for Saturday night. Let's keep our eyes open and see how they use it. However, longer show lengths can sometimes be a point of discussion among WWE fans regarding pacing and content density. Now, I did see some quote-unquote backlash to the 3-hour continuation, and some fans were like...
Marketing.
I don't know. No, this just seemed more like, I don't have time for this in my life. Maybe they're adults with kids that are just too busy and they don't want to watch 3 hours. They'd rather have it be cut down to 2 hours and free up another hour every week of their life. And I just got to say, there's YouTube channels for you to get caught up on, if something happens, don't skip life for wrestling,
Right.
It's always going to be there. It's a soap opera. It's never ending.
And you can get easily caught up when watching YouTube shorts or watching any segments about wrestling. You're not missing much.
There's a trail
There's
from
always trail,
1960 to here of titles changing hands and drama and manufactured illusional feuds.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, it says for the USA Network, a successful 3-hour block of WWE programming offers a strong anchor in its weekly schedule, likely contributing to consistent viewership and valuable advertising revenue across all 3 hours. The network's reported happiness with the numbers suggests that the extended SmackDown is delivering from a ratings or engagement standpoint. And I'll just want to say, no kidding. No shit, Sherlock, as they say. We talked about this at the start of this. Obviously, if people are if they're changing course here and keeping it longer, that means that they probably outperformed expectations here going into it. They are probably very happy with their purchase right now, and USA is probably going to be one of the hardest to get to let go of this now that they got their hands on it.
Yeah.
And when I was talking about earlier with that international market being able to watch SmackDown on Netflix as opposed to having a TV cable package and needing that USA channel in your lineup in order to be able to enjoy it, the international market's winning, at least in my eyes, as far as the access game goes. But I feel like USA will not give this up. Last sentence here. WWE fans can expect Friday nights on USA Network to continue offering an extended dose of SmackDown action. Perhaps if ratings start to decline, then a change will be made. I don't think it's going to decline anytime soon. I think it might go up.
I don't think it's going to decline. I think there's more and more people interested in it, and it's fun to watch nowadays.
It is fun. It is more, I think, universally friendly than it used to be. And as someone that started watching in January, we'll continue this theme that we started with. I feel like even I've come around. I was sort of critical of the product because it wasn't as edgy or as probably dirty languaged as it was when I was especially in my 18 to 20 age range, when I was into Stone Cold and The Rock and Triple H and those feuds. And, those guys to me are amazing performers on the microphone. And there was a reason why it was so popular then, is because they had like all these performers align and come to the product all at once. So the fact is, though, that I've come around on Jey Uso and Seth Rollins. And I think Seth Rollins does rival Triple H on the mic. I've come around on like John Cena's heel turn here. It's great.
It is great.
The way he looked at The Rock,
when
and
the moment it
when
happened,
he gave him the it was great television. I cannot deny that. And we got sucked, I think, kind of in around that moment, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can see on the Cena's face the moment he turned heel.
Yeah, we were excited for WrestleMania that night, when they were all out there and Cody Rhodes had to make his decision whether to sell his soul to The Rock or not. And yeah, we'll have to wait and see how all these storylines play out. But Smackdown, 3 hours, not going anywhere. Sorry if you were not wanting that, you lose.
Yeah.
Advertising dollars and revenue win. So this is a win for WWE and its fans for as far as I'm concerned. And I hope they use that time wisely to develop storylines, to flesh out more characters, and to give some of these characters more face time so I know who they are. Because I'm not going out of my way to not know them.
Right.
It's just their infrequency, I think, that causes like, who's this guy?
And then the writing. When it gets to good writing, you remember the characters better.
100%.
So.
100%.